Hello, everybody. It's Bullsy. I'm here to talk about everybody's obviously favorite pro wrestler, Cody Rhodes, the man who won the 2024 Rumble, and his match wasn't necessarily chosen yet. Cody Rhodes just denied facing Roman, and then didn't anymore, cause Rock stuff. Yep, it's gonna be interesting to break down because, yeah, all this weird stuff going around saying Cody Rhodes deserves it or he should get it over The Rock. You know, it's kind of bizarre, to be honest with you. I don't know why people take that so seriously. But we'll get into this. Does Cody Rhodes deserve his WrestleMania match with Roman at all? Well, no, I don't think he does. I think there's much more to it than meets the eye, necessarily, because we can't just be like, pick our favorites and just put them there just because we want it, right? Right. Basically, fans don't run the show. But some people think that. But either way, we're gonna look at this and delve deep down into this whole Cody Rhodes spiel. Does he really deserve it? Considering everything that has led up to this moment, I can't say he does. Story-wise. Wrestling-wise, I mean, there's a lot of other people that deserve their moment.
Yes we can.
But
you
in this case, we'll
give
say
us Cody
Rhodes
Rhodes
deserves it.
Rock. Cody Rhodes rock
Maybe,
so
I don't know.
hard.
Maybe he does. Maybe. But then again, what about Braun Breaker? Yeah, just throwing it out there. What about Randy Orton?
Oh, it has to be Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, you so?
It's Cody Rhodes. He's gonna be the one
We can make any presumption about this anytime.
for the story.
We're gonna focus on Cody Rhodes. Just basically Cody Rhodes. Over our point in his, relations with everybody else that had a factor leading into WrestleMania. So, let's start with Cody Rhodes and his 2-year build to WrestleMania 40 with Roman. Let's go into this. Let's start with 2022. So, Cody Rhodes makes his return to WWE in the main event of WrestleMania against Seth Rollins, the guy who he already fought in the main event. So he wins that main event and goes on to feud with Seth Rollins up until Hell in a Cell. He wins the match. He had a torn pec, and he is out for the majority of the year. So far, his career is okay, regardless of injury. He suffered an injury. He got his ass whooped, but won in the end. It's a good start for a Cody Rhodes, especially when he goes out injured. He fought injured to maintain his spot. At that point, you're gonna go for that guy. Right. Moving on. Up until WrestleMania 39, right? First, what happens is Cody Rhodes comes back and wins the Royal Rumble for 2023. So, we could say this is where the build-up really starts. Because this is the time where Cody Rhodes wins the Rumble, and basically he's pretty much the only challenger Roman hasn't faced so far. So, we're going into that. So, it starts with the Rumble win. He comes out at 30. So, after Roman finishes his fights with Kevin and Sami, then we get to Roman and Cody Rhodes having their little arguments. Some entertaining, a lot was actually, and they did a good job building towards that. They did a good job bringing up Cody Rhodes' brother and father, and Roman Reigns talking about his bloodline. So it's family versus family lineage, basically. It was a fine story to tell between the two. So, at the time, I was thinking, okay, Cody might win this. Roman Reigns has beaten everyone there is to beat, pretty much. Who else is he gonna fight at this point? With the exception of Bobby Lashley and AJ Styles at the time, we could basically say he had the best reign overall. And him dropping the titles wouldn't be too bad anyway. He had the best reign of all. Right? Unless they had another strategy, but we'll get to that later. So, until the WrestleMania match, so this is like up to a month of build between Roman and Cody. So they had their match at WrestleMania 39, main event. Cody Rhodes loses. I didn't really think he was going to lose, but in my head it was like, okay, maybe they have a better story in place, and that was a yes and no answer. Yes for Roman, no for Cody, actually. 2 for Cody. He's number 2, just like Roman says. Anyway, but their segments doesn't stop there. Night after WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes calls out Roman and says, basically, I fought you in Solo at once. So challenges him to a tag match. Up until the end of the show, it was Brock Lesnar who decides to help fight with Cody until he decides not to, by beating him up before the match even happens. Why this even happens, we don't know. It just does. So he's fighting with Lesnar now. He forgets about his story with Roman and Solo. So he forgets about the WWE title to fight with Lesnar because he beat him up that one time. And then we get to WrestleMania Backlash. I couldn't wait to see this pay-per-view event. Oh, man. No, I can't wait to attend one of those WrestleMania Backlashes where WrestleMania always continues. That's a show I can't wait to go to. But anyway, Backlash WrestleMania happens, and Cody and Brock has to fight, and Brock Lesnar hurts himself and bleeds, and Cody Rhodes wins, basically. So, I guess that was a one-off. Not sure why they fought in the first place, but hey, they did. And then after that, Brock Lesnar attacks Cody Rhodes again and breaks his arm. Storyline, narratively speaking. He breaks his arm, and now Cody Rhodes wants to fight him again with a torn arm or something. We don't know why. I decided the fact that Brock Lesnar just decided that he was going to attack Cody Rhodes again and fight him at Clash of Champions, I guess. And then beats Cody Rhodes by him passing out in a Kimura lock. Cody Rhodes fights with Dominic Mysterio at Money in the Bank because of whatever, and then challenges Brock Lesnar to a fight at SummerSlam. Because, why not? So, the SummerSlam match, Cody wins, and Brock Lesnar now respects Cody. So, that's that. So, hey, by the way, why is it always when Brock Lesnar returns, he beats, like, people and babyfaces, but babyfaces come back and win the big one? It was first John Cena in 2012 in Extreme Rules. Then it was Triple H at WrestleMania. Then it was Roman Reigns. And then it was Seth Rollins. And now it's Cody Rhodes. I don't get the booking idea here. But anyway, Cody Rhodes moves on to fight Judgment Day after fighting Brock Lesnar. Well, what a transition that was. Anyway, he fights with Judgment Day now. He teams up with Jey Uso to win the tag team titles. And for whatever reason, Roman and him have a stare down at SmackDown after the title wins, or at Fastlane. And then loses it a day on Raw after winning it. Well, that title win meant nothing. And then after that, instead of for the championships at Crown Jewel, I guess the creative team decided that Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest on a one-on-one match is a bigger fight feel than just a match for the tag team championships. Then again, I was that match will go down in history. Very remembered. I enjoyed the fucking story between that. But anyway, Cody Rhodes fights Damon Priest at Crown Jewel because fuck all reasons. For really nothing. And then he fights with Jey Uso for the tag team titles on a TV show. I didn't realize they thought a one-on-one match is bigger than a tag team title match. But their fight with Judgment Day doesn't stop there, along with Drew McIntyre. They go to War Games and Randy Orton returns and Cody Rhodes' team wins. So now, we got 2 feuds down that had really nothing to do with getting to Roman. Oh, by the way, I should point out that Cody Rhodes went to SmackDown that one time to, I guess, talk to Nick Aldis. And then he helps LA Knight fight off the Bloodline. And then it's never brought up again. We don't even know why it happens. It didn't lead to anything. But anyway, I guess we're hinting for a WrestleMania match for one stare down with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes helping LA Knight with the Bloodline. So I guess that's just, another 2 days of build to WrestleMania 40. Not very good. But anyway, after the War Games match, Cody Rhodes says, I want to be in the Royal Rumble. So he's picking up the story again. This is where he actually picks it up back up. They dropped it after WrestleMania, okay? And now they're picking it up after War Games. And then drop it again and have Nakamura attack him for fuck all reasons. Why? It's more pointless than fucking Brock Lesnar fighting him. Why was Nakamura fighting him? What did Cody do to piss off Nakamura? I don't know. But anyway, they have their fights and stuff. It wasn't even to get to the Royal Rumble. It was just Nakamura wanted to beat up Cody Rhodes for the sake of beating him up or something. We don't know why. It just happens. So Cody Rhodes has to fight Nakamura, even though it has nothing to do with getting the Royal Rumble or the WWE title, just like his last 2 feuds with random people like Rock and Judgment Day, and it didn't even do anything for him. None of them did anything for him. And then now, we get to the Royal Rumble. He wins his 2nd Royal Rumble, back to back. So now, we can stop right here. We can absolutely say Cody Rhodes has a pretty good career. His first match back was a main event at WrestleMania. He won a Hell in a Cell. He competed in Hell in a Cell and won it with a torn pec. Then he returned and won a Royal Rumble, main evented his 2nd WrestleMania back-to-back, and then afterwards won War Games and then won Royal Rumble back-to-back. So his career looks very strong for the past 2 years, going out of injury as well. Cody Rhodes had a great career. I mean, you've given him a lot, basically. You gave him successes, and basically he's had memorable moments. Right. Now, why isn't he getting his match with Roman? Well, technically he is, but at the same time, it is The Rock that was supposed to face Roman at the time, because there was actually a build-up and that was supposed to happen. Paul Levesque knew this before Rumble 2024 happened, but he had Cody win anyway, knowing the match has already been done. Rock versus Roman. So, why did this even happen? Okay, stop. Why does Cody even deserve his match with Roman? How is this even a 2-year build? Based on what I've been going over, Cody's story had predominantly nothing to do with Roman. With the exception of winning 2 Rumbles and then fighting Roman at a WrestleMania. And then, I guess, a stare down on SmackDown. And that's it. That's Cody's story with Roman. Random events. Or just convenient moments where he wins it and finally gets to Roman. So basically, Cody Rhodes' story just looks like that. Yeah. Can't say he really deserves it based on the fact that his story had not been focused on winning the WWE title throughout the fucking years. Only when it's convenient do they pick it back up. What's the problem with this? Let's think about it. Okay, let's stop and look at everything out of Booker's perspective. When it comes to booking shows anyway, it usually involves carefully planned process that requires collaborations between a team of writers, producers, and talent, right? The first step in booking a show in the creation of a storyline or angle. This typically involves the writers brainstorming ideas for feuds, alliances, and rivalries. Between the wrestlers, these storylines are designed to generate interest and excitement for the upcoming event. Right. Once the storylines are in place, the next step is to determine the matches that will take place on the show. This involves considering the current rosters of talent as well as any special guest appearances or surprise returns that may be planned. The matches are then carefully choreographed to ensure that they contribute to the overall storyline and provide entertaining and engaging content for the viewers. In addition to the matches, the booking team must also consider other elements of the show, such as promos, interviews, and segments. That will help to advance the storylines and keep the audience invested in the action. This may include backstage segments, in-ring confrontations, other dramatic moments that add depth and excitement to the show. For a pay-per-view event, the stakes are often higher, and the booking team will work to create a card that features marquee matches and compelling storylines that will entice fans to purchase the event. This may involve building up certain feuds or rivalries over the course of several weeks or months to create a sense of anticipation and excitement for the pay-per-view. Throughout the entire booking process, the team must also consider the overall flow and pacing of the show, ensuring that there is a balance of action, drama, and entertainment that will keep the viewers engaged from start to finish. Ultimately, the goal of the booking team is to create a compelling, entertaining, and memorable show that will leave the audience wanting more. This requires careful planning, coordination, and creativity to bring all the elements together into a cohesive and exciting event. And considering all of the booking that Cody's gotten, this was not carefully planned out with his match with Roman. They did not think about a 2-year build with Cody and Roman. They were never thinking of that. How can you say it's a 2-year build? If this was a 2-year build at all, then it would have started with Cody Rhodes wanting to finish the story and not fighting with Seth Rollins. Right. And more importantly, if you wanted to talk about completely finishing the story, you would have given an explanation of why Brock Lesnar attacked Cody Rhodes in the first place. Maybe it's because if Brock can't have the WWE title, then nobody can. And he attacks Cody Rhodes or something. And Cody Rhodes has to overcome Lesnar to get rid of him so he can get to Roman Reigns. So he can win the WWE title. But they didn't do that. Yeah, think about this for a second here. You can't really say there's much for character with Cody Rhodes. Let's look at his character for a bit. His character is basically charisma bold man. Yeah, that's it. When he returns, he's charisma bold man. When he fights Roman, he's charisma bold man. When he fights Brock Lesnar, he is super bold and charismatic. And then fights Judgment Day. And then fights Nakamura. All of it really had nothing to do with Cody Rhodes' character. No psychology was changed. Cody Rhodes didn't go through any changes throughout the time. There's no real struggle to get to the WWE title. It's just Cody Rhodes fighting with random people and kind of just winging it until you get to the Royal Rumble. Yeah, that's not really what I call good build-up, or good storytelling, or good booking at all. Cody Rhodes actually receives this bad booking. He was booked against people that really had nothing to do with the story in the first place. And if you wanted to make an excuse that because Cody was on Raw and Roman is on SmackDown, they can't have anything to do with one another. Okay, in that case, then why have them on separate shows? Wouldn't it be better to book them on the same show so that way Cody Rhodes can fight for that title? And I don't even agree with the logic that Raw and SmackDown are separate shows. I mean, they both share pay-per-views anyway. And if he really wanted to make it work, especially if they're going to have 2 world titles, they're going to have separate pay-per-views. I mean, let's say, for instance, Backlash can be for Raw and Clash of Champions can be for SmackDown or something. But they didn't even do that. So, like, maybe for an exception of few pay-per-views, such as, like, maybe for, like, Money in the Bank or SummerSlam, even that, I don't think it would work. So, my guess is, why have 2 world championships? I mean, they don't even do the world championship of service. They just have Seth Rollins wearing feminine clothing, pretending, saying, I'm a hard-working champion, wrestling 500 matches of people that don't even earn it. Right. Like he's a workhorse. It's not really a believable world champion, man. But anyway, Cody Rhodes receives the bad booking that, you know, he doesn't really deserve. And he doesn't receive the storyline throughout the 2023 that is supposed to be happening for him. They dropped it because, basically, for no reason. They just had to have him do something else. And I guess they just wanted to prolong the match up until WrestleMania 40, despite the fact that Rock versus Roman was already planned ahead of time. Yeah, this is very dumb booking. This is very dumb storytelling. They didn't think about how to get Roman and Cody in a match at WrestleMania 40 organically. And I don't even know why it had to be at WrestleMania again. I mean, the point of WrestleMania is something we haven't seen before. And especially it's the biggest event of all time. You can do almost anything. And Rock versus Roman is something new and something different, at least. Not that I'm saying I prefer it, but I've already seen Cody and Roman at WrestleMania. At this point, why not give it to somebody else? I was thinking maybe Randy Orton because of his story, but they dropped that too for The Rock. And I'm going to jump way ahead and say I don't blame people's outrage, not entirely, for The Rock coming back and having his match with Roman. Because, of course, they didn't know that ahead of time as well, so when Cody winning the Rumble, and all of a sudden The Rock comes out and be like, yeah, I'm going to challenge you, Roman is dead, would obviously get people angry, but you have to understand Paul Levesque already knew this ahead of time. We don't know. I don't know why he wouldn't just have The Rock win the Rumble and then challenge Roman, or better yet, have Roman just drop the title beforehand, because it was Paul Levesque's idea at the time to have Roman retain at WrestleMania 39. It was his idea. Not that Vince would have the idea of dropping it to Cody either, but we have to understand that it was a move either way they were going to make. And they both were and both already knew that The Rock in Roman is going to happen at WrestleMania 40 for the title. Like I said before, I'm not for it being for the title. It doesn't need the title. The match of itself is marquee. It sells itself. Generation versus generation is a good enough match to sell. I mean, regardless if The Rock gets gassed out walk into the ring, it's a match that anybody would like to see. It's kind of like Goldberg versus Lesnar. It's not necessarily meant because it's going to be a 5-star match. It's because it's a marquee match and a match two guys you want to see in the ring together. That's really what it is. So, in this case, Roman versus Rock doesn't need the title. It's just a generational match, and them two having a match together is enough to sell. But hold on. There was also people back in the day saying should be Cody Rhodes who should beat Roman for the WWE title. No, it's not like Cody Rhodes should win it from somebody else, or somebody else should win it from Roman. it is specifically Cody Rhodes that should beat Roman for the WWE title. Now, this is where I kind of disagree. Not just kinda, but majorly disagree. There comes to a point in time where now fans are just trying to dictate who should beat Roman. Because at the time where Jey Uso was having his big moments in fighting with Roman now, getting away from him, and the bloodline story was going on, we're going to talk about Roman now, in his story. His storyline went even greater, because now he was going on to Bloodline Civil War and then Money in the Bank after, failing to win the tag titles. Jimmy and Jay is somebody he has to fight along with Solo. He gets pinned by Jay, and this leads to a match at SummerSlam. Roman and Jay are now fighting. Now, people were saying Roman's gonna win. I was thinking Jay should win, because at this point, this is Jay's moment, right? This is the biggest story in 2023 right now. The biggest storyline in 2023. No, not Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn winning the titles. No, that was for Jay and Jimmy to move on to something better. In this case, Jey Uso moved on to fight Roman Reigns for the championship he was the first challenger of. Right? So it's pretty poetic. Now he's fighting Roman Reigns at the main event. Main event Jey Uso. Jimmy costs Jay the match, and so Roman wins. So, here's what happens afterwards. You know what this leads to? Jimmy and Jay break up and Jay goes to SmackDown. Or Raw, actually. Sorry, Raw. Jay leaves SmackDown, goes to Raw, and Jimmy goes back to the Bloodline. So the Bloodline still continues. Jey Uso's and Roman Reigns' story was dropped. So was Jimmy and Solo's. Which would have led to a fatal four-way match if creative was thinking logically. Instead, it led to three people remaining together for fuck all reasons, and somebody else moving to Raw because fuck it. Okay, one, they dropped the story because we can make multiple reasons. They dropped this story for either Rock or Cody. Make your two picks. Or they dropped this story because it wasn't something they wanted to focus on anymore, so they wanted to do something else. Keep in mind, there's nothing really going on. You could say the Judgment storyline is there, but no one gives a fuck. I mean, who really cares about the Judgment Day? They're treating the Judgment Day like their Bloodline 2.0, but that's just forced. Making Rhea Ripley the dominant where there's no leaders, but Rhea Ripley acting like the leader. It's not really something I'm invested in. Hard to be invested in at all. Either way, so there's nothing really going on. There's nothing really to invest in because now Jey Uso went to Raw, and the only thing that is really to be invested in Raw is Jey Uso's past with everybody else. Drew, Matt Riddle, and Kevin Owens. So basically, that's going on. So Jey Uso's story now is winning the approval and whether he would join the Judgment Day. So basically, any interest that involved around Raw involved Jey Uso. And they fucked that up too by having him lose all the time. Oh, well done. Well done. You know what we're doing. So his story was dropped because fuck you. We don't know why. We don't even know why they made this decision. I mean, not like Jey Uso can't be a singles competitor on SmackDown either, but who cares? And not like we wanted to see Jimmy back with the Bloodline, but who also cares? But let's move on to another one. Another great storyline that they also dropped for whatever reason. LA Knight. John Cena pitches LA Knight versus Roman Reigns. They have a great segments here. And what happens is they have a match at Crown Jewel. Roman wins, but for some wrong reason, LA Knight doesn't win the championship. And it's kind of sort of forgotten about, but LA Knight's still fighting with the Bloodline on SmackDown here and there. Without Roman. There is no rematch. It's just have LA Knight fight with the Bloodline a few times and get beaten up or beat them up back. Cody Rhodes interferes because whatever, fuck reasons, we don't bring up on Raw or SmackDown at all. And LA Knight doesn't even show up on War Games. Or Roman. So their storyline is kind of active, but it doesn't lead to anything much of anything up until Royal Rumble. But we'll get to that later. Randy Orton returns, and this is the new big storyline. Randy Orton returns, promises revenge on the Bloodline. And he says every single member. He'd forgiven Jay, and now he's going to SmackDown. Here's what they do. Instead of okay, take your time with each and every member, what they do is Randy Orton challenges Roman and says it ends at the Royal Rumble. So basically, they're basically saying, fuck it, let's just get it over with. So they're already got to drop, no, I should already tell you, they're going to go drop his story. But to make it even worse, they haven't even finished LA Knight's story. And they return AJ Styles. So 3 potential stories. They put them all in a fatal 4-way match at Royal Rumble. Roman wins. Solo helps him cheat, and there you go. No more story between 3 characters that get wasted. Yay! But I wonder who writes this stuff. Such compelling TV stuff, man. I always preferred Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania 40. Nobody else. So, quick question. Why not Randy or Jay? Or LA Knight? Or AJ Styles? I mean, you had 4 potential stories to do any of this. To drop the titles to any of these people. But you want it to be Cody Rhodes. The guy who already had his match. And then they dropped this story to have him fight some other people. This is weird with pro wrestling fans. They go for the flavor of the month, whether it's Cody Rhodes, Daniel Bryan. I mean, they went with Cody. Yeah, I think I already got that point across. I was about to say Kofi Kingston, because I want to point out that people wanted Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, wanted to lose it on SmackDown the next day. They really just go for the flavor of the month. It's not really about who's actually a believable champion. Sometimes it's just who is their favorite at the time. And I guess the WWE caves into the internet and usually gives it to the person without really building up anything. Now, I'm not saying those people are over, but WWE has a habit of not keeping it organic. Sometimes they just keep them off of television until they burn out. And they did that with LA Knight. They did that with... They're doing that with Randy Orton, and they did that with LA Knight. I already said that, but Jey Uso, I mean. So this should tell you. There was actually really no, heat going in with WrestleMania 40 with Roman and Cody. And the only way they did this, is The Rock only returning to SmackDown Live to challenge Roman for the WWE title. Because Cody Rhodes decided that he didn't want to fight Roman at WrestleMania. Until the next day of the WrestleMania kickoff show, he decides, I want to fight Roman Reigns. And cuts one of the stupidest promos along with The Rock. Your grandpa would be ashamed of you two. Who wrote those lines? First of all, who in their right minds would think, oh my god, this is such a great line. We gotta write this. Whoever wrote those lines should be fucking embarrassed. I feel bad for Cody for having to say that. And what makes it worse is The Rock. If you insult his bloodline, you jump my bloodline. Really? Goddamn, dude. Can you guys at least get some little backbone? Call each other a motherfucker or something? Call each other faggots at least? It's better than cheesy insults that really mean nothing. Anyway, we got all that out of the way, so considering all this, let's consider their characters, really. Cody Rhodes is, like I said, charismatic, bold man. So basically, he fights anytime, any day. But here's the problem, that's all he is. WWE also has a habit of not focusing on character. their character motivations don't really align to what they're doing at the time. It's just put him in the ring one-on-one and have him fight for 20 minutes or so. That's boring. If that's all you do every now and then what's the point of watching? What's the reason they're fighting? Let's say, for instance, they had a story with Jay and Drew, but they never did anything with it. Let me tell you something. Drew is mad that Jey Uso cost him the WWE title at the time, right? Jey Uso is mad that Drew keeps attacking his friends. Jay is a loyal hothead. Drew McIntyre is a angry psychopath. So based on those character dynamics, Jey Uso should be wanting to beat up Drew McIntyre anytime he gets, costing Drew a chance to even get his hands on somebody. This should make Drew mad enough about Jay is that not only do you keep attacking me for getting what I want, so I'm going to attack your family. Does things to get in his head, he fucks with him, making Jay pissed off enough to want to fight him. And thus setting him up a match at Royal Rumble. They did nothing with it to keep Jey Uso's momentum alive at all. They did nothing to keep Jey Uso and Jimmy's story alive at that moment. They just had them both lose every now and then on Raw or SmackDown. No, this is shitty booking. No one's really getting the better end of the booking. I mean, you could say Seth Rollins because he's being booked to be this fighting champion. You could say he's doing a great job with the World Championship, but not really. I mean, if we take a moment into account that he's fighting people for the sake of fighting people, and wins and losses don't mean anything, at that point, what does it mean to defend your title at all? If anybody can get the title, anybody can get the opportunity. Shouldn't it be people fight, scratching claw to the top to get to Rollins in the World Heavyweight Championship, instead of Rollins just passing out world title opportunities like cotton candy? This should tell you, like, if it was really good storytelling, if it had a story at all, then they wouldn't be doing this at all. No, what they ought to be doing is, okay, thinking about who else should challenge Seth Rollins for the world title. I mean, you don't need CM Punk because fuck him. I don't know why people wanted CM Punk. By the way, people were okay with CM Punk returning, winning the Rumble, taking Cody's spot, but not The Rock. Okay, whatever. But maybe it's that Rock should have won the Rumble and challenged Roman. Maybe that's the idea. But at the same time, people were also saying, even before Punk returns, that Cody should beat Roman. So they already kind of had their minds made up. It should be Cody. Nobody else. Yeah, it's very weird. Anyway, let's think about this. Think about all of this for a second. If you're going to establish that Cody Rhodes wants the WWE title, then, like I said before, it should evolve around being the WWE title. He should be more than this charismatic, bold man. Establishing clear and consistent traits for each character. This includes their personality, motivations, and strengths, weaknesses, and beliefs. These traits should be believable and relatable to the audience, right? So, what is really relatable about Cody Rhodes? He's a fighter or something? I mean, everybody on Raw or SmackDown is a fighter at this point. I mean, there's nothing really about Cody Rhodes that goes, he feels like a human being that we can relate to. At least in my eyes. He's not fighting for the WWE title at the time. He's not trying to get to SmackDown Live to fight for it. He's not fighting other people to get an opportunity for it. He just forgets about it. His motivations did not align with fighting other people. In fact, fighting other people really did nothing to get him to Roman or the WWE title. So you can't say it's a 2-year build, especially the fact that he was injured throughout the year of 2022. Right? And going on to this, showing character growth and change, and he does none of that. Throughout the storyline, characters should experience personal development and evolve in response to the events and conflicts that they face. This includes overcoming their flaws, learning from their mistakes, or evaluating their beliefs. Right? Cody Rhodes doesn't really do any of this. Like I said, wins and losses mean nothing. Really doesn't. You could lose and nothing happens the next day. You could lose and probably get a world title either way. That's how WWE is. They book this way, and AEW has done the same. I'm not saying I'm an AEW fan, by the way, because I don't watch AEW. Who the fuck watches that stuff anymore? But either way, WWE is this. Book your characters, book them 20 minutes, and maybe it gets over. But, like I said before, there's no growth. Characters in their pre-established traits that lead each other to fight would be better booking. If you just book A versus B and book them 20 minutes and the guy who loses the next day gets a championship shot, then what was the point of the match that happened before? We don't know. If you're creating complex in relationships and dynamics, characters should have meaningful interactions with each other that influence their actions and decisions. This can involve forming alliances, facing betrayal, or dealing with conflicting loyalties, right? Yeah, that doesn't really happen either. If Cody and Kevin and Sammy are friends at all, shouldn't this lead to Kevin Owens wanting to go to SmackDown because he doesn't trust Jay? Instead of, like, I don't know, just going to SmackDown for the sake of going to SmackDown, just for the trade? None of this happens. Didn't even think about that. Didn't think about anything throughout 2023 outside of what they think will sell to the pay-per-views of audiences. In which, in this case, nothing really was successful. I mean, ratings are worse than like 10 years ago, actually, if you really think about it. Well, they're falling out. I mean, back in the day, they'd have more viewership. I mean, you could say whatever you want. So in this case, I think I got the point across, but I want to do something real quick. I really, really want to do something. If Cody Rhodes was actually the focus, let's look at this. Let's think about this through. I want to give an alternative. And maybe people will agree with this or not. But I want to give an alternative if Cody Rhodes was actually the focus for the WWE title. So, bear with me. Let's start with Cody after WrestleMania 39. So, let's think this through. WrestleMania 39. Cody Rhodes' storyline, winning the WWE title. Who's his alliances? Who's his friends? Matt Riddle will return, so Matt Riddle has beef with the Bloodline too because they put him out of action. So does Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. He's friends with Sami and Kevin, so therefore, let's say this. Cody Rhodes comes back out, challenges Roman to a rematch, feels cheated, wants Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes gets attacked by the Bloodline. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle returns to help Cody Rhodes fend off the Bloodline. But no match is set up yet. There's no Fatal 4-Ring yet. They both are now being escorted out. They're being kept from each other. But all four want each other. So they all need to get rid of each other, right? Right. So this is what happens. Instead of a random Fatal 4-Way match or a one-on-one match, how about a 8-man tag team match at Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash or whatever? All four in the main event, they both have a match. Cody Rhodes cost his team the match because of his obsession over Roman Reigns. He wanted Roman Reigns because he feels cheated, thus losing it for his team. Let's also keep him off of television for the month and let Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have their fight with Roman and Solo Sikoa at Backlash or at Clash of Champions, because Jay and Jimmy failed, so why not? We give it to Sami, Kevin, Roman, and Solo. So that's what happens. Cody Rhodes is off. He has nothing to do with it. And after Clash of Champions, he comes back and wants to be in the Money in the Bank. He wants there. So what happens is he fights for it, earns it, and gets into the ladder match. He's along with Damien Priest and The Miz, right? And LA Knight and whoever fucking three, Bobby Lashley or AJ Styles, I guess. Who knows? I don't know who. Maybe. No, let's just put Karrion Kross in there because why not? I don't remember the actual match code, but let's say those 6 are in there. Cody Rhodes is about to win, but Judgment Day helps Damien Priest win. Cody Rhodes is pissed. For SummerSlam, he wants a match with Damien Priest for the Money in the Bank. Damien Priest declines, so making Cody Rhodes attack Damien Priest at home, beating him up with glass and shit, and making him accept the challenge and sign a paper. They get their match at SummerSlam. So now, what happens is, Cody Rhodes is obsessed, trying to get to Damien Priest, wanting that Money in the Bank briefcase. He fails because of Judgment Day interfering, and gets pissed. He says, mumbles, Plan B. Time for Plan B. So, what happens is, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are now having to face the Judgment Day for the tag team titles. What happens is, Kevin Owens is attacked by who? Who knows? Kevin Owens is hurt. Sami Zayn needs a new partner. Cody Rhodes inserts himself and says, I can help you fight. What happens is that they go to Battleground, and then what happens is Kevin Owens returns and says, I'm a prize fighter. He says he doesn't really remember who attacks him, and Judgment Day denies that they did. Cody Rhodes also denies that he did. Right? So what happens is, Jey Uso comes back to Raw. Cody Rhodes asks Jey Uso to help him win. By the way, Judgment Day has the tag team titles now. So they start a little mini tournament for number 1 contendership for the tag team titles for Crown Jewel. And Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens fight at Fastlane. Kevin Owens doesn't trust Jey at all. Kevin Owens doesn't really remember who attacked him. His vision's blurry, or his memories blurry. But also, Cody Rhodes plays this weird idea. He tells Sami Zayn that Kevin Owens isn't to be trusted. Remember the times he turned on you? Jey Uso is at least loyal. Because remember, Kevin Owens does not trust Jey because of history. But Sami Zayn knows them both. Sami Zayn knows Kevin Owens did some grimy shit back in the day. So Cody Rhodes is kind of like throwing seeds out there and kind of like being passive aggressive about it. He tells Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens isn't to be trusted. He'll turn on you when he thinks he can. Kevin Owens, on the other end, will tells Cody, you actually trust Jey over me, when he's the one that cost you the WWE Championship. This is where it gets interesting. Cody Rhodes says Jey is very loyal, and Jey would never turn on me, playing on that loyalty of Jey Uso. This is a thing to point out. Cody, Kevin, and Sami are all very selfish. Sami Zayn has put himself in the bloodline to gain relevancy. He wanted to be part of the bloodline, and he did it only for his own selfish needs. And when feeling like he was being bullied, he hits Roman Reigns in the back. He didn't want to do the thing the family did the most. Jey Uso was going to. He's loyal. Sami Zayn isn't. Neither is Kevin. So they're more than likely to turn on each other. Same thing with Cody. He learned from Randy Orton, so therefore he's going to learn to manipulate, be menace, and hurt each other. I should also point out that Cody Rhodes' style should be a bit different now. He's more sadistic. He stomps people's hands. He slams people's arms into posts, and he hits their head on the tables. So basically, he does more brutal things in the ring. He also does less work and thinks smarter. He goes to the outside and pulls the person's foot off the ropes and hits him in the post or something. And he also seems to be cheating at the time. His style is somewhat changing. Jey and Cody both beat Sami and Kevin. They both are now the challengers for the tag team titles at Crown Jewel for the tag team titles against the Judgment Day. Cody and Jey win, but Jey is the one that did most of the work. He sacrificed himself for Cody, he hurt himself for Cody. So, let's say Jey has a storyline injury, and Cody doesn't necessarily pay any mind to it. He just says, Jey did a very good job, and he can do better. Again, playing on that loyalty. He's manipulating Jey now. Jey went from being manipulated by Roman to being manipulated by Cody. Now we get to War Games. So, Jey and Cody are not fighting the Judgment Day in the War Games. In fact, I don't even care about fucking War Games matches. I mean, you could put the women in there if you want, because I don't really care about Damage Goal, what's going on there. Because fuck them. I don't even... Why was it there? You can have it. But Judgment Day still want the tag team titles. Cody Rhodes realizes it, but now is happy that he can float between SmackDown and Raw. He brags about it. Jey Uso asks him, why you care to go back to SmackDown? That's the reason. The reason why I went left SmackDown is because of the blood. Cody Rhodes just says, don't worry, you can trust me. Again, playing into that loyalty of Jey. He goes to SmackDown, deals with the bloodline of, like basically Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. They team up just primarily, and they want the tag team titles now. Jimmy also wants those tag team titles, but so does the Judgment Day, thus setting up a triple threat match. We'll just say LA Knight's injured for the sake of being injured, because why not? And there's a storyline where Jey is a bit hurt. He's not injured, but let's just say he is. So he does most of the work, he does most of the hurting, and only Cody Rhodes tags in to play the hero. Pretty much. Randy Orton returns and costs Bloodline in the match, thus helping Cody win the title. Retain the titles. Cody Rhodes gets the pinfall, but Jey Uso took a lot of the damage. He was the MVP, but Cody Rhodes doesn't care. Now, we get to Roman versus Cody. Royal Rumble. Cody Rhodes is trying to get to Roman. Roman comes out and says this. Well, I'm a bit surprised. In fact, I'm impressed. You manipulated Jey to get to where you are now. You hurt other people just to get to where you want. And he brings up who attacked Kevin Owens. It's pretty abundantly obvious at this point to Roman, and to everybody else in that matter. Jey Uso says Cody would never do that. His loyalty. He's already loyal to Cody. Roman tells Jey, come on. The writing is on the wall. You're a hothead. Jey doesn't believe it, but Cody deflects and says, that doesn't matter. I want the WWE title. At this point, Cody is a bit of a tweener at this point. He obviously attacked Kevin Owens, and it's clear to people, but he keeps deflecting and not admitting to it. Admitting to his faults. If you really look at all of his actions, all of it was trying to get to SmackDown Live so he can get the WWE title. Roman will bring that up, thus leading to a match at the Royal Rumble, because he's also pretty impressed and kind of says, that's an act of a number one man. They have a match at Royal Rumble. Roman wins clean. Cody Rhodes is pissed. Jey Uso did not help him at all. He says, I thought you had my back. Jey Uso apologizes, and Cody Rhodes just walks away. Now Elimination Chamber. They have a match with whatever, maybe Judgment Day, or who cares? Because why not? Cody Rhodes isn't there. Cody Rhodes isn't there at all. In fact, Jey Uso is on his own in the Elimination Chamber. Cody Rhodes just abandoned Jey. Jey Uso tries to do his best, but fails to retain the titles for his team. What happens is an Elimination Chamber match happens with the men. Cody Rhodes attacks one of the guys that are going in. Whoever it is, who cares? But he attacks him, beats him up, hits him with steel chairs, and puts himself in the match. He wins the whole match. As Randy Orton has went through the other Bloodline members and captured the WWE title from Roman because The Rock interfered, setting up a match with Roman Reigns and The Rock, and now you got Randy Orton versus Cody. Now, there's a story. Cody Rhodes acting menacingly, acting like a nightmare for everybody else on the roster. Randy Orton wanting revenge against the Bloodline and taking his frustrations out each and every member before Elimination Chamber, taking the title from Roman. Now there's a story. Heel versus face. Hero of a guy who wanted revenge in the Bloodline is now facing the guy who conveniently just wanted something for himself and hurt everybody else to get there. Cody Rhodes acted evil to get what he wanted Randy Orton acted out of vengeance of being hurt by the people that decided to put him out of action. Who do you vote? Who do you root for in this case? I think that's a good example at that point. I won't be pretentious. I'm not going to say my ideas are better than WWE's. I'm sure they have great ones. They got much more clever writers than I am. But I just decided I thought I'd write this out in my own little way. If you agree, you agree. If you don't, you don't. I thought Randy Orton, LA Knight, AJ Styles, or Jey Uso would have been better to beat Roman. But if you have to get Cody to the title, I think Randy Orton versus him is probably the best route to go. Either way, though, that's my take at least. Anyway, hope you enjoy.